Hey, sorry about that. Just realized that my audio was off. Alright, well, it's a test. Okay, so, yeah. Alright, anyways, where was I? Um, I'm making this presentation for an animation meetup here in Phoenix. I'm going to be going over the pipeline of animation, and so I've made some assets for that to kind of give an idea of how a story is created, how an animation in particular is created, whether it be for 2D or 3D animation. And so I'm just trying to come up with some information and visuals that can kind of go along with it. So, like, I've created this PDF file that should show like what is it that kind of is needed when going through the animation pipeline. Um, and I found some other ones as well, but this is kind of just how my brain kind of works a little better um, as far as visualizing things goes. So I'm just thinking if it's useful for me, then perhaps it's useful for someone else also. Um, Now, I wanted to also create like a basic story to go along with it. So I took one of Aesop's legends. This one is the story of the hare and the frogs. Um, and so I was saying like you could take this story as your kind of inspiration, and that will be basically your starting point. Um, haven't said this yet since I'm still in the process of making it, and this is for this Saturday. So I have a little bit of time before getting it all finished up. Um, so, oh, good. Looks like the camera. There's a little bit of a delay with YouTube on the feed. I'm not entirely sure how long of a difference it is, but it feels fairly significant. Um, but I should. Yesterday, I didn't really want to do this, but today I think I can do it as far as letting people know what's going on. I'll make it public. I threw something onto Twitter. I guess I'll throw it onto Facebook too. This is. I'm trying to take two things out at once. One is to try to test out the streaming, and the other is to work on this presentation. And so it could, gosh. Let's see, I'm gonna mute that. I think that'll work. Sorry, just a moment. Trying to get this figured out. Sorry, just a moment. Trying to get this figured out. Sorry, just. Alright, I am being muted. Alright, share. and Facebook. Okay. So I was thinking to start another test stream. Did one yesterday, but I'm thinking, oh, I'm making some tweaks. Going to continue creating content from my Saturday presentation. If you hop on, say hello, and feel free to ask questions. Already started, but I'll stay on for a while. I should spell while correctly. Yeah, that seems fine. Okay. Anyways, kind of don't like the idea of having a bunch of people watch, but I imagine that might be good for me. Anyways, so yeah, again, this presentation, I'm going over the pipeline. So I wanted to show the story idea. So I just took one of Aesop's legends, then I created a script. Did I show that script? I don't think I did. Let's see. One easy way to show it. I have to zoom in. Okay, yeah. Alright, so if I show my screen, I've converted that Aesop story into a small script, kept it really, really, really short. So I'm thinking grab a narrator voice and kind of go over the thing. I'm only going to have one of the pairs speak. And I think it might be fun to kind of use an AI voice changer just because why not? And come up with the voices that way. So we'll see what I end up doing with that. But so right now I'm at this point where I've made a storyboard. I wanted to give a demonstration of showing the different ways you can go about doing storyboard, because there isn't really any like one specific software. There is the standard for the industry, which is Storyboard Pro, and it's a very, very good one. There are pros and cons to it. Now, in the traditional sense, the storyboard isn't moving, whereas Storyboard Pro is going to put it into a moving picture for you. But if you want to just thumbnail out your idea, and this will be good for like if you want to be a director, you can grab like just Photoshop, and then right here I've got the artboards feature turned on And so in artboards, you can grab all these pictures and make these panels. And after you make all these panels, the order that they're in over here on the side, you can then export them as a PDF. And that way you have all of your panels out there. You can also export them as just a sequence of PNGs, or I think actually JPEGs, but it doesn't matter. The quality of a storyboard doesn't have to be very grand or anything. And so then after you get them into this panelized form, and if you export them as an image sequence, then you can take that into a program like Premiere and then time it out and start adding in your audio. Now, now that I have the story and the storyboard kind of finished, my idea right now is to come up with the character designs and the art direction. And I'm gonna just keep everything all in one file for now, because I just don't feel like dealing with all the mess of a. It's not really a mess, but I just don't feel like dealing with a lot of files. I'll just keep one large file around. And it is pretty large because each of these blocks are like, they're all 1080p. So in reality, it's a pretty big image. Okay, so the characters that we have in here, we have the two hares, or rabbits, as are more commonly said. But hares and rabbits actually are not the same thing, by the way. My wife told me that, and so she will correct me every time that I bring that up. Anyways, we have two rabbits, and we have the bird, and then we have the frog. The frog's the only other character. Okay. Now, when it comes to the character design, it doesn't have to look just like you have them worked out in the storyboard. You can also choose something entirely different. Storyboard is just to show the progression of the story itself and the basic idea of where the cameras are and all that. It's not really supposed to be that detailed. If you're working on television, then they will want you to have it pretty detailed and clean, especially clean. Because if it's TV, they tend to skip one of the steps of the pipeline called layout. And when you skip layout, it makes it so that it's kind of hard to set up your scenes. So essentially, you are in TV, you're doing the storyboard, the animatic, and layout all in one. It's not ideal, but it is a lot faster to do it that way. Anyways, so on the characters, I have them named in the script. Hare 1, Hare 2, bird, and frog. Yeah, so let's see. Hare 1 in the script, they're both hares are very fearful, and they both are gonna be scared of the of the perceived threat in the story. So they need to have a design that's going to be able to convey that. We can think about some shape language. For instance, we know that round things tend to be associated with comfort, and also with naivety. From the comfort end, it has to do with typically it has to be how it has an association with maternity, and how many people find that their maternal figure tends to be their source of comfort, in the sense of like a coddling kind of a comfort. And then there's also naivety, where that comes from young things. And so like babies tend to be pretty round, and pudgy. So there's this roundness for that kind of association. Now, another shape language would be the square. Squares tend to be, and this is like the right angles. Right angles, squares, they tend to be viewed as being really sturdy and strong. It's why you see many character designs for, say, like a fatherly figure. They tend to be more blocky. This also happens in nature as well. Male figures tend to become more broad in like the shoulders. The musculature for males also tends to get more square. It causes the general form to become more squared off than in females. And then let's see, another form would be something that's a sharper angle than the 90 degrees, and that's going to give you the sense of danger. And so in our story, and the reason is because sharpness is associated with, sharp things, which don't feel nice when they like poke into you. So with our story, we don't really have any dangerous creatures. None of these guys really associate with danger. Now, of these characters, perhaps the bird can associate with being sturdy, but really the bird doesn't have any personality. It just kind of pops onto screen. But for some variance, we might just give it a more sturdy design. Now, both hares and the frog, they're all going to be skittish, which isn't really necessarily going to be associated with the round look, since the round look has a lot to do with being comforting. What we may say instead is more of a squiggly kind of shape going on, and that's like it has an association with being uncertain. So with that in mind, you may also want to just think about rabbits in general. So you might grab a reference. I guess we're having hares actually, right? So maybe go for a hare instead. Really, with animation, it doesn't matter too much. I want to also point out if you have any questions at all, just feel free to ask. I've got an eye on the chat. Even though this isn't supposed to be much more than a test, I'm still open to any questions. Let's see. I think I found a decent rabbit, huh? Or hare. I keep saying rabbit. Let's say that's our rabbit reference. Let's see. Then we need a bird. In the story, it should be a small bird, so maybe a swallow. Yeah, that looks like it can be a good reference. And both rabbits are going to look pretty similar to each other. Now let's see, a frog. Just need some standard frog. All right, beautiful. Now I think I can actually just do it this way. Nope. All right. All right, so we have our three animals we're going to be basing things off of. It's good to always have some real life reference to things. Things will naturally become more simplified later on, but still a good idea to have something that's based off of real life first. All right, so I also want this to be very simple, because if I have anything that's too complicated, then the animation process is going to be taking longer than it ought to. Not for something that is just for a small presentation. And I don't have time for that, because I've got other stuff I've got to do too, you know? All right. So, the frog. Let's see. Kind of like the idea of the frog having some, like, large eyes. Let's see real quick. With that frog, he needs to be able to kind of twist around and jump. I wonder if I can get away with... Seems like their calves are pretty dense. Give him some super thick legs, I guess. Okay, I think that I can start putting in some other things. Kind of have a better conveying of what I want this frog to be like. Give him some small pupils. And simplify those fingers. Let's see. Maybe that needs to be simplified a little bit more. I have to keep in mind how much simplification should be going into things so that they can actually be animated in the amount of time that is allotted. Alright, I think that's kind of decent for now. So then just clean it up. This isn't the what you would do for a final character design. You would want to have the turnarounds and all that as well. For my purposes, I'm going to simply make one colored version. I might make a turnaround for the rabbits just to make it easier when and if I actually end up animating them. They might make actually a better demonstration. And they're both the same, so I'll only really be doing one rabbit. But that'll at least give me something to kind of show with some continuity as far as working on one project. I were doing this for a client, I would be trying to be like, I would be trying to be a lot more clean. And I would probably also, I'd give a lot more options to the client as opposed to this being just one drawing. And I'm going to go the lazy route and yeah, the lazy route. Just do a basic magic wand fill. I have a reason why I like putting it at 50%, by the way, on this fill, a 50% gray. I don't need these other lines. I'm just going to delete them. I might keep rough lines for one of the other creatures, but the frog, nah. I don't know why it's... It's giving me troubles. Not sure why. Okay. I also would be naming all these if I were working for a client, but I'm gonna just not worry about that for this. Let's see. The next thing that I'll be wanting to do is figuring out colors. Recently I've been liking using just an 80% gray for my whites, and the reason is because that way you can actually put like a highlight on top of it and it'll still look convincing. It doesn't always look proper though, depending on how things end up being. I also don't like using perfect blacks and perfect whites. It just seems to work out better, I think. You keep a buffer between the upper and lower spectrums. Let's see. We'll keep it simple and have a green frog. And no, this is not perfect. If I were to, well, if I were to hide the line work, you'd see that gray that is not taken by that green. And say like between the eyes and, well, the white and the pupil. It has that gap. But that I find to be okay for my purposes. I actually tend to do that on purpose for some, in some ways. I like copying it, making a quick blur. Yeah, 5 is good. Duplicate that a few times. And then I might do that same blur just once more. Okay, so our lines are filled in. They've got something kind of going on like that. Then merge all my color layers together. It should be expanding beyond, which is good. We want that. I'm going to turn that off and then bring my lines back on. And then I will throw in some lighting stuff. I'm going to keep everything on the, as far as light goes, I'll keep them on the pure spectrum. It'll make picking colors later on easier. Let's see. What if it's like 1/3? I don't think that I'll be shading these guys at all. Like in the end. But as far as like showing some form, it can be nice to have that. Okay, and then I'm going to take our layer on top and set it to overlay. Get my lines back up. And then what I like doing is I take the color and the shade that was just made. Hold on. I'm just filling in a gray right here. And then I copy that, bring it over, merge it as one, and have that apply over the line work and set it over to linear. And then we have this kind of color line going on. It's not like a perfect look, but it's not bad. But he looks terrified enough, right? I guess he's not going to be able to twist too much, but more of that twisting can happen with his legs. Alright, so we've got our frog. Let's group him. And alright, how about we try to make that bird. Seems like he'll be fun enough to do. Alright, thinking to make him a little bit more of a squared off shape. Again, I want something that's going to be pretty simple to animate. So now that I've got kind of a base, give myself a few more pixels to work with. I think for the bird, I'll keep his beady eyes. I think I'm just foregoing the swallow in particular. See how much I can get away with as far as detail reduction goes. And if I can keep just some plain stick feet, I think that would be good. Don't really like the shape of the head right now. Okay, I'm going to be wrapping this up pretty soon. I need to head out in a moment, which I suppose is fine, right? I'll just pull this guy in real quick. Let's see. Go with general bird beak. Make it blue. Yeah, that's fine. Then check that all out. And 3. Time for the shading. If you want to be a little lazy with your shading, one way to do it is just have it completely done in After Effects. In my most recent demo reel, which is not on YouTube yet, I have to wait for another project to come out. In that video, I have in the introduction a small little self-portrait, and that one I did all the shading inside of After Effects. The animation was done inside of TV Paint. The background was actually, well, it's like super blurry, but that was technically done inside of Blender. And then that same video at the very end, it's the same background that I made, but hopefully I can show that one sometime soon. I'm not going to bother putting on the line coloring on this one. Well, why not do it? Okay. I think I used 80. Okay. Take that. Stick it on there. Linear, right? It's either linear or hard. I think they both look the same if you're just going over black. Alright, well, I'll put more effort into the rabbit, but I'll have to do that another time. I have to close things up. get ready to pick my wife up and bring her back home, make dinner, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So I might do this again. I'll have to review the video and see how it turned out. I keep worrying if I like accidentally like set the audio off on something that I should be using. Like I was doing a recording earlier and I forgot to put the mic on, and so I think for like a good 3 minutes or so, it was just silence from me. But anyways, if you enjoyed this, then cool. I don't know what to say more than that. Have a good one. Good. What day is today? Today's like Wednesday, right? Or is it Tuesday? Yeah, it's Wednesday. Gosh. Anyways, have a good Wednesday, guys. Bye.